Welcome back to Fair's Fair, and if you didn't know it was going to be late, then you aren't following me on Twitter and are living your life wrong. Follow me on Twitter at Fair's Fair Tweets. But welcome back to another Fish in a Barrel, where I lay into a terrible piece of media that is an easy target. Today's proverbial fish in the barrel of Netflix is The Package, which makes my statement of laying into it very questionable. I do normally say there's no problem in liking something, as liking it is subjective. However, I really don't get this one. I get the enjoyment of a well-timed bit of lowbrow humor, but this movie's humor is so lowbrow that its eyebrows get tangled in its pubes, and subsequently every joke flatlines harder than Captain Marvel's character arc. But let's just start with a baseline on comedy. Not everything that's funny is intentional.
ピアノでさ、そう、ピアノしかない。ちょっとウクレレっていう、ちょっと、ウクレレちょっと、あ、そらちゃん。なんかわかんないけど、そらちゃんもう一枚出そうな気がしてきた。
But it subverts what you would otherwise expect. At least, that is the basic formula of a joke. This is usually why the stupid character in a show doing something stupid isn't funny. That's what they always do. It's not unexpected. It would have to be in an unexpected way that fit the scene. Imagine if you had a character that's incredibly stupid and someone else uses the term, "It's so simple, it's like 2 + 2. And the stupid character says, "Oh, I get it. 5. It's not all that funny if that character has consistently been a stupid person right from the start. You knew exactly what the punchline was going to be. It was going to be a wrong number that was not the solution to 2 + 2. Along a similar lines, observational comedy typically falls flat in a comedy show, because in that instance, you're observing something that you made to make a joke out of its existence. You put a lawn chair on a refrigerator, then ran over to say how funny and weird it is that it's up there, despite the fact that everyone is acutely aware that you put it there just for this joke. But while humor can be very subjective, comedy typically has a formula. They say that comedy is the hardest genre to write because you have to constantly subvert while keeping in character and story. The complexity of writing a good comedy is hard to do right. For every Ghostbusters, there's a million other movies that fell so abundantly flat that no one would ever find them funny. A so-so action flick is still a sound movie, it just didn't bring anything special and it wasn't all that entertaining. With a comedy, however, if your jokes aren't landing, the entire movie becomes terrible because it was supposed to be funny. Then you get into complicated stuff like a movie that's funny because of how bad it is, even though it wasn't supposed to be, but we're getting off topic there. The point is that there's a lot of complexity and subversion that needs to go on in a comedy for it to be consistently funny. This movie completely fails to do any of that for the entire runtime. No, for real, there is not one single joke or twist in the movie that you don't see coming a mile away. The subversive requirement is paramount. Nothing ruins a joke like someone spoiling the punchline, and if you know the joke was coming, it's less funny. And if there's one thing this movie couldn't afford to do while being classified as a comedy, it's be less funny. Let's take a look at its progression, shall we? During the start of the movie, they talk about this mysterious super hot online girlfriend with a fake sounding name, and how everyone says it's a catfish. Gee, I wonder how this will play out in the story. Well, it doesn't really affect the story in any way, shape, or form. But I wonder what the punchline will be. Yeah, the friends are wrong and she is a super hot girl. That isn't really too bad because it barely ate up any runtime, but it's a sadly predictable joke. But in the actual storyline, we could go through these setups. First, the movie's name is The Package, so it's about someone's dick being in peril. Then we see a guy playing with a butterfly knife and cut himself accidentally. Okay, so he's gonna cut his dick off. The friends are going out camping, so they'll need to rush him and his dick to the hospital, and lack of signal on phones will be a plot point at some point. Obstacles of their own making, a misunderstanding or two, and one false end before they make it in time. I'm right, by the way, because the structure is that predictable. I've already figured out what's going to happen in the movie, and it doesn't bring anything new on any of those aspects, and you see every single one of those things coming well before it actually happens. But the Super Friends buy alcohol from a guy who might as well wallpaper his entire store in American flags and military paraphernalia. Being underage, they use a stolen military ID to buy beers. Oh good. I can't wait for them to be in a rush only to see him again, get found out, and have this guy chase them. Which does happen. Glad they spent 2 scenes beating us over the head with this info, just in case we've all been recently lobotomized and didn't figure it out. I really do need to make that video on Subversion, because they don't seem to be understanding what it's supposed to be about. They all get drunk out in the woods at night, and the guy with the knife goes off to piss. Thank you, movie. I knew he was going to cut his dick off already, but just in case I'm stupid, I definitely have it now. So his friends sneak up near him and see that he's slashing his piss stream with the knife. Everyone got it? That he's going to cut his dick off? The unborn inside of the woman in the 3rd row from the back? You got it? Okay, good. So how many edibles was I supposed to take before this movie? Then they say they're going to sneak up behind him to scare him because they think it will be funny. Huh, I wonder what that's leading up to. People who haven't seen the movie and haven't watched my video on it know what's going to happen now. You have telepathically broadcast the start of your joke. It's okay. You can get there now. We understand. You borderline gave it away in the title. And then you spent a good 15 to 20 minutes just getting there.
Get on with it!
Possibly more. I'm not going back to check because I don't want to watch the movie again. The first time I watched it, it was enjoyable hanging out with my friends, but the movie I hated. Of course, he cuts his dick off. What a fucking surprise. The phones have no signal, so they give them all to one guy to go off and call from a tall ridge. Jesus Christ, I don't even have time to address how stupid that idea is, even from drunk college kids. Good to know he's going to fuck up and drop all the phones over the edge. But they did get the call out, so the movie did surprise me with that. Unfortunately, the only thing that subverted what I expected wasn't even a joke. But the helicopter arrives and takes him out without checking the cooler they were handed at all. And they made sure to show that there were 2 coolers right next to each other, just in case you had just recently huffed a lot of paint. They wanted to make sure you knew that they handed the dude the wrong cooler, and now we'll have to rush his dick to the hospital because they gave the wrong cooler to the medics and they've lost all their phones. Completely predictable hijinks ensue, complete with the false end that I saw where they run into a hospital with the cooler, unannounced, and a random doctor points and says, "Is that the penis?" Despite how insanely impossible the odds are, and the fact that none of this would progress in this fashion at all, somehow another person has lost their dick and they brought it to this hospital. Luckily, the movie awkwardly twists the dialogue around using any words about the situation or names, so we all know that they're actually at the wrong hospital giving the dick to the wrong person. Phew! Almost had a twist that you didn't beat me over the head with there, movie. Careful with that. If you surprise me, I might have a fucking heart attack. Or worse yet, laugh. Now the dick's attached to the wrong person whose girlfriend had cut his dick off. There is so much wrong with every part of this, but fuck it all, I'm so done with this movie. Then the story needed to progress past their false ending, so the guy who got their friend's penis asks to be alone with his equally one-note personality girlfriend. You know, the one that cut his dick off for cheating. I wonder what will happen that lets them get their friend's dick back. It's a fucking mystery. A few slapstick bits later, and some unearned, unrelated character arcs that happen in a bubble from the rest of the story, Dude Bro character TM gets his dick back, and it'll all be okay. Even though that very likely wouldn't be okay, but whatever, at least it's over. Dick jokes can be funny. A bizarre focus on dicks can be funny. Context is part of why, though. It being out of the norm is part of why. Saying penis randomly among your friends can be a giggly bit, but just saying the word isn't comedy, and you sure as hell can't base a movie around it. But the worst thing, my great grievance, is that the movie is beating you over the head with everything so hard that it's impossible for anyone not to see the events cresting the horizon. All of the characters are too stupid to see it coming as well, which inflicts idiot plot on the movie. But the movie thinks you're stupid too, so it has to beat you over the head with it just to make sure you get what the joke's going to be. That way you'll know when to laugh. Say what you want about the Scary Movie franchise, full of lowbrow humor, stupid characters galore, idiot plot, but at the very least you don't see every punchline coming long before it happens. Partially because that movie works on cartoon physics and there's no way you could ever see most of that coming. But most importantly, it's because the movie doesn't beat you over the head with the punchline long before it's even finished the damn setup. Letting the viewer know something's going to happen isn't the same as telling them what's going to happen. You made a big reveal of where we're going to have have fun, but I'm not surprised. You left Six Flags pamphlets everywhere, showed me the tickets, the bank charge, and we've been on 4 roller coasters already. It's okay. I know. It's a bit late for the reveal that we're going to Six Flags. The only way you could squeeze humor out of that is if we had been on 4 roller coasters already, and somehow we weren't at Six Flags. I don't know what I expected from a Netflix-funded comedy, but it was more than this. But let me know, did you like this? How high/drunk were you at the time? And if you weren't drunk or high, are you surprised when the sun comes up every morning? Were you with friends and it seemed funnier because you were with friends? Because, you know, everything's fun with friends. Feel free to give your opinion or disagreements in the comments as you like, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. Or if you think giving away the punchline doesn't ruin a joke being told, fuck you. I mean, be entertainingly angry.
If you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative...